Imagine scorching the league for points so quickly the scorekeepers can't even reset the board. Then, at the peak of that dominance, choosing to holster your greatest weapon because your teammates need something else entirely. That's the impossible sounding gamble Steve Yzerman took, and the ripple didn't just lift Detroit, it rebooted the entire blueprint for winning hockey. Tonight we'll trace every pivot, scar, and masterstroke that turned a flashy teenage phenom into the unshakable archetype for NHL leadership, plus the quiet sacrifices that made his triumphs stick. You'll see how banner after banner was stitched not with tape-to-tape passes, but with raw, relentless willpower, and why modern captains still crib notes from Yzerman's playbook whenever a season starts to wobble. Stick around, because the closing twist proves greatness isn't measured by what you pile up, it's defined by what you're brave enough to let go. Detroit in the early 80s was hockey purgatory, empty seats, endless losses, and a nickname, Dead Wings, and that stung worse than any glove drop. Into that gloom stepped an 18-year-old 4th overall pick with a boyish grin and hands like Quicksilver. Yzerman's rookie season lit the fuse. 87 points, Calder snub or not, he put Motown back on the highlight reels. His sophomore year exploded for 39 goals, a franchise rookie record that yanked the crowd out of their seats. Yet every magical rush ended the same way. Steve skated off glowing, the scoreboard still bleeding against Detroit. Night after night he watched rivals celebrate in his barn. Lesser talents would beg for a ticket out, but Yzerman's stubborn streak only hardened. He vowed silently that the winged wheel would spin again, even if it meant tearing down his own game. Ending on that vow, we roll straight into the ultimatum that nearly broke him. Scotty Bowman marched into the Red Wings dressing room wielding 9 cup rings and 0 patience for run-and-gun stat lines. His message to the franchise cornerstone was brutally simple: score less, win more, or be shipped out. Trade rumors detonated across the league. Talk shows pictured Yzerman in every color but red. The captain faced a crossroads: keep chasing Art Ross fantasies or rewrite himself into the two-way General Bowman demanded. In private workouts he drilled backward skating angles, shot-blocking stances, relentless back checks. Teammates blinked and swore he'd cloned himself into a Selke candidate overnight. By the time puck drop arrived in '95, the league witnessed a metamorphosis. Silky scorer on one shift, ruthless puck hunter the next. The transformation set the stage for a roster overhaul that would weaponize Detroit's skill like never before. But the pieces were still missing, until Yzerman welcomed a cultural shockwave. Enter the Russian Five: Fedorov, Larionov, Kozlov, Fedisov, Konstantinov. Some stars would feel threatened, but Yzerman saw an orchestra waiting for a conductor. He bridged language gaps in practice, urged Bowman to let the Russians freelance in the neutral zone, and blended their finesse with Detroit's grinding core. The result? Shift-to-shift dominance. One moment Stevie sniped top shelf, next he was killing penalties like a fourth liner on a PTO. Detroit racked up 62 wins in '96, but fate barreled in wearing burgundy and blue. The Avalanche rivalry would carve scars that magnified everything Yzerman had just learned about sacrifice. And in the thin mountain air of Denver, Detroit's obsession truly began. Game 6, Western Conference Finals, 1996. Claude Lemieux bulldozed Chris Draper, shattering bones and Detroit's playoff hopes. The Avalanche strutted to a cup while the Wings nursed rage. Yzerman absorbed the humiliation, limped into the locker room, and told reporters, "We'll remember." The next season's March 26th rematch became Fight Night at the Joe, an 18-fight eruption where Yzerman dropped mitts, killed penalties, and scored the OT winner. Detroit proved they could bleed and still hunt. The message: the cup wasn't a dream, it was a debt. By spring 1997, that bill came due. 42 years without a championship ended in a 4-game demolition of Philadelphia. Yzerman tallied 24 playoff points, lifted the cup, and Detroit's downtown roared as if steel mills had sprung back to life overnight. But champions risk complacency, unless their captain is allergic to comfort. The very next season, after Vladimir Konstantinov's tragic limo accident, Yzerman wore heartbreak on his sleeve and willed Detroit to back-to-back glory against Washington. He skated through bone chips and bone-deep grief, insisting that every shift honor Vlad's empty stall. The dynasty was official, yet the greatest test of Yzerman's pain threshold waited just around the calendar's corner. Team doctors bluntly explained that the cartilage in Yzerman's right knee was basically dust, a grinding mess of bone on bone. He'd already limped through Canada's historic Olympic gold run in Salt Lake City that February, draining fluid after almost every game and popping anti-inflammatories like breath mints. Surgery promised months on crutches, and almost certainly the end of Detroit's Cup hopes, so Stevie simply nodded, tightened the brace, and told the trainers to double wrap the joint. On practice days, he'd save every stride for the evening, often gliding through drills to conserve what little cushion remained. Then puck drop arrived and he flipped the switch, logging 20+ minutes and still taking defensive draws. The locker room ritual became legend. Teammates watched him peel off the brace to reveal a swollen grapefruit of a knee, ice packs taped on while he dissected shifts for younger players. Yet in 23 playoff games, he cranked out 15 points, including a no-look assist in Game 3 that spun Carolina's D pairing into knots, proof that genius can operate through pure will. When the Wings closed out the series 4-1, Yzerman hoisted the cup with one leg planted, the other trembling under its own weight, and the entire bench pounded their sticks in awe. It wasn't just another championship, it was a masterclass in mind overruling matter, etched into NHL folklore as the year a captain turned pain management into an art form. That final lift also signaled a new metamorphosis. As confetti fluttered, fans had no idea Yzerman was already plotting the next phase, swapping skates for a blazer and moving from the trenches to the architect's chair. The jersey would soon be tucked away, but the drive to build winners was only getting started. Hired by Tampa Bay in 2010, the rookie GM wasted no time proving his eye for hidden gems. He snagged Nikita Kucherov 58th overall, Braden Point 79th, and Andrei Vasilevsky 19th, three future pillars who would all sign cap-friendly extensions before their true breakout seasons. He persuaded Steven Stamkos to stay put during free agency frenzy, convinced Victor Hedman to buy into a team-friendly pay structure, then weaponized the savings by flipping late rounders for Ryan McDonough and savvy depth like Barclay Goodrow. By the time the Lightning hoisted the 2020 Cup inside the Edmonton bubble, analysts joked that every stitch on the banner had Yzerman's initials, even though he'd already handed day-to-day duties to protege Julien Brisebois. The pull of home, however, never loosened. In 2019, he returned to Detroit determined to reboot the Dead Battery franchise he once captained. His first drafts produced Moritz Seider, Lucas Raymond, and blue-chip goalie Sebastian Casa. His trades shoveled out expensive mistakes while stockpiling picks. He inked stopgap veterans like Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko to short deals, betting their name recognition would teach kids how to win and sell tickets while cap space matured. As of July 2025, rumors swirl about offloading Tarasenko at the deadline to chase a true top-pair defenseman. Supporters still chant, "Trust the Yzer plan." Critics groan over another season outside the playoffs, but every move echoes the principle he embraced back in '93, sacrifice a quick stat sheet for a decade of real power. Around the league, copycat GMs are leaning into the same patience-first philosophy. Scroll through any modern highlight reel and you'll trace Yzerman's DNA in today's superstars. Sidney Crosby still dives headfirst into the corners despite a Hall of Fame resume. Alexander Barkov shadows opposing top lines like a heat-seeking missile. Connor McDavid has layered a relentless backcheck onto his warp speed offense, while Nathan McKinnon openly credits Yzerman's tapes for inspiring his own two-way snarl. Even younger captains, Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa, preach the same creed. You earn the C by doing the ugly work no one cheers. The influence stretches beyond the ice. Front office seminars quote the Yzerman triangle: draft shrewdly, demand accountability, and never mortgage tomorrow for applause tonight. Corporate leadership coaches cite his 2002 run on one good knee as a masterclass in crisis management. In Detroit, Little Caesars Arena still erupts when the big screen flashes number 19 in the press box. School kids who never saw him play can rattle off his playoff point totals and his latest trade tree wins in the same breath. Yzerman is no longer merely a living legend. He's shorthand for adaptive greatness, proof that skill plus sacrifice equals dynasty. Every future captain who tapes up before warm-ups, every GM poring over draft lists at 2 a.m. is, knowingly or not, following a trail he blazed 3 decades ago. Steve Yzerman's journey arcs from prodigy to warrior to architect, yet one thread stitches every era together. Progress always came with a price. He surrendered scoring titles for shot-blocking bruises, swapped personal glory for the dirty, unseen shifts that hold a locker room together, and even bartered away chunks of cartilage for one last champagne shower. Those sacrifices forged banners that still dangle above Detroit, and blueprints that every modern captain quietly copies. So as you chase your own goals, whether you're grinding overtime on a side hustle, coaching the Pee Wee squad, or pitching the next big startup, pause and ask the same question Stevie Y answered decades ago. What are you willing to give up so the people counting on you can win? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell us the trade-offs you're wrestling with, and let's learn from each other, just like Yzerman's teammates learned from him. If that idea fired you up, smash the like, hammer subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a tale of relentless reinvention. We've got fresh legends on deck, and the next episode might just hand you the spark your own story needs. Until then, keep your stick on the ice, your standards sky high, and remember, true greatness is measured in the weight of what you're brave enough to leave behind.